1914. The world stood on the edge of a conflict unlike any before. A war that would be called the Great War. A war that would claim millions of lives, reshape nations, and introduce weapons so devastating that they changed warfare forever. This is the entire history of World War I. But how did it start? And why did it spiral into one of the deadliest wars in human history? Let's go back to where it all began. Chapter 1. The spark that ignited the war. It all started with a single gunshot. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary was assassinated in Sarajevo by a Serbian nationalist, Gavrilo Princip. But while the assassination was the spark, the real cause of World War I had been brewing for decades. Europe was a powder keg of tension. Two major alliances had formed. The Allied powers, including France, Britain, and Russia, and the Central Powers, led by Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire. Imperialism, militarism, and nationalism had pushed these nations toward the brink. When Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, alliances kicked in like dominoes. Within weeks, Germany invaded Belgium, Britain declared war, and the world was at war. Chapter 2. The Western Front and Trench Warfare. The war quickly turned into a brutal stalemate. On the Western Front, stretching from Belgium to Switzerland, soldiers dug into trenches, creating a hellish battleground where progress was measured in meters, not miles. Machine guns, artillery, and barbed wire made direct attacks suicidal. The war became a deadly cycle. Charge, retreat, repeat. Millions died, but neither side gained significant ground. To break the deadlock, new horrors were introduced. Poison gas, flamethrowers, and the first tanks. But none of them could end the bloodshed. Chapter 3. The Eastern Front and Global Conflict. While trench warfare dominated the West, the Eastern Front was more mobile. Germany and Austria-Hungary clashed with Russia in brutal battles. Millions of soldiers died, and by 1917, Russia was on the verge of collapse. In 1917, the Russian Revolution forced Russia to withdraw from the war, giving Germany a brief advantage. But World War I wasn't just fought in Europe. Battles raged in Africa, the Middle East, and the seas. The Ottoman Empire fought against the British, while German U-boats sank ships across the Atlantic, threatening global trade and alliances. Chapter 4. The United States enters the war. For years, the United States remained neutral. But in 1917, two events changed everything. First, German submarines sank the Lusitania, killing over 100 Americans. Then, Britain intercepted the Zimmermann telegram, where Germany promised Mexico U.S. land if they joined the war. That was the last straw. With fresh troops and resources, the U.S. gave the Allies the strength they needed to turn the tide. Chapter 5. The Final Push and the End of War. In 1918, Germany launched a last-ditch offensive, hoping to win before American reinforcements could fully arrive. At first, they made gains, but exhaustion, lack of supplies, and counterattacks pushed them back. By November, Germany was collapsing. On November 11, 1918, at 11 a.m., an armistice was signed. The war was finally over. Chapter 6. The Aftermath and the Treaty of Versailles. But peace came at a cost. The Treaty of Versailles blamed Germany for the war, imposed heavy reparations, and redrew the map of Europe. The Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires were dismantled, and new nations were born. Many historians believe these harsh conditions planted the seeds for an even deadlier conflict, World War II. Chapter 7. The Legacy of World War I. World War I reshaped the world. It introduced new warfare, changed borders, and led to revolutions. Over 16 million people died and countless more suffered. But its impact didn't end in 1918. The lessons learned from the war to end all wars were soon forgotten, as just 2 decades later, the world would be plunged into an even greater conflict, World War II. History has a way of repeating itself, but only if we fail to remember it. The story of World War I isn't just about the past. It's a reminder of how fragile peace can be. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because understanding our past is the key to shaping our future.